Hello and welcome back to Pittsburgh Feeler News. I'm your host, TG13. We've had some big news this week with running backs. Travis Etienne went down earlier in the week, Monday night with a Liz Frank. That makes James Robinson a keeper now for Milky. He also has Darrell Henderson, who he's not going to be keeping, probably a first-round pick now. And then about 5 minutes ago, we had J.K. Dobbins go down with the hyperextension of his knee from early reports. And all of a sudden, Gus Edwards is looking good. I have Gus Edwards on my bench. Dan, I will trade you a first-round pick for Gus Edwards. Or I'll trade you Gus Edwards for a first-round pick. I'm not going any lower than a second. So if you want a running back, I'm going to stick to my guns there. I don't need to keep Miles Sanders now. I can just keep Gus Edwards. So you can have fun with Miles Sanders. Some other Jaguar news for you Jaguar fans that don't watch this. Gardner Minshew was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 6th-round conditional, maybe a 5th round if he plays 3 games, at least 50 snaps. Or 50% of those snaps from 3 games. The Jags will get a 5th rounder. Stupid, Urban. I don't know what you're doing. I know you're trying to get rid of the players you didn't draft, but that's twice now that you could have gotten way more for your players. Joe Schobert and Gardner Minshew. Anyways, this is a fantasy show. Not going to talk real NFL. But yeah, those were 2 big running back moves today over this week that happened. So, like Tanner just said, things are heating up right before the draft. We are, by the time you guys watch this, 7 days. It's next Sunday. But we're 7 days away from the draft. Things are really getting crazy. Teams are starting to fill out a little bit more. Everybody's watching preseason. You have these injuries. There's been a couple trades. Cody traded Darren Waller and Cody traded Travis Kelce to Dan for Darren Waller and Jonathan Taylor. Really good for Cody. I know why Dan did it. He wanted that number 1 tight end, and he also needed to cut down on his players. He had way too many keepers. Well, he'll only keep 5, but he had way too many players. So I understand both sides. Anyways, today we're going to talk about top 10 wide receivers and top 10 running backs. So let's get started. Yeah. All right. I gotta move my screen a little bit. All right, coming in at number 10, Chicago Bears wide receiver Allen Robinson. I think Allen Robinson's a great wide receiver. He just needs a quarterback, and I think Justin Fields will show. I think he could be that quarterback that can put Allen Robinson over the top. Andy Dalton's not the answer. Mitchell Trubisky obviously isn't the answer. I think Justin Fields will be the best quarterback that Allen Robinson's had since high school. So I have him at number 10. There's his last year's stats. Number 9, Mike Evans. I know you have a 3-headed monster plus Gronk. But you have Tom Brady throwing the ball. Like we saw last year, Mike Evans can have 3 catches for 3 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just what he does. He's a touchdown machine. I know he'll regress a little bit, come back to the norm, but I still have him at number 9. Number 8, A.J. Brown. I'm going to take a drink of my beer. I know he's got Julio, but I think that opens up the offense a little bit. You have Julio, you have Derrick Henry, and you have A.J. Brown. You have Tannehill throwing the ball. He's going to have a good year. He's not going to have a top 5 year, but I have him, inside the top 10, number 8. Number 7, DK Metcalf. The dude's a monster. I don't know what else to say. He kind of reminds me of, what was the, if you remember Hulk, do you remember who he fought? Like the general became like the other Hulk, and he had like the spine, and he's this big monster looking thing. That's DK Metcalf. Anyways, You have Russell Wilson throwing the ball. I mean, everybody knows DK. I think he's going to be a really good player this year. I have him inside the top 10 at number 7. Number 6, DeAndre Hopkins. Talent-wise, the best, probably top 3 wide receiver in the league. You have Kyler Murray throwing the ball. You know, you don't want to touch that backfield this year because, again, you have Kyler Murray, you have Chase Edmonds, you have James Conner. They're all going to it'll be a running back by committee with those two. And then, like I said, you have Kyler Murray. He'll be getting a lot of rushing yards, a lot of rushing touchdowns. But if you look at wide receivers, you have DeAndre Hopkins, you have AJ Green, Andy Isabella. I can't think of Kirk's first name. But yeah, I mean, you don't have great wide receivers outside of DeAndre Hopkins and to a very lesser extent AJ Green. So I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot this year. They're going to be running, but they're going to throw the ball. Obviously, it's the NFL, and they're going to need somebody to throw it to. DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, you can't guard him unless you're Jalen Ramsey, who nobody likes. So yeah, I have him outside the top 5 at number 6. Number 5, Justin Jefferson. He had a great rookie campaign last year, as you can tell by his yards, touchdowns. I mean, look at those receptions. 88 receptions, 125 targets. That's amazing. I know he still has Adam Thielen on the other side. You have Dalvin Cook in the backfield. The only thing is Kirk Cousins. You know, Kirk Cousins is not a very good quarterback. So if he can play like he did last year, Justin Jefferson, top 5 wide receiver. Again, you have Adam Thielen, who will get a lot of slot passes, a lot of underneath passes. But Justin Jefferson's the guy that can get the bomb down the field. So I have him at number 5. Number 4, Stephon Diggs. Oh my God, 166 targets, 127 receptions. He had more receptions last year than Justin Jefferson had targets. That's amazing. At number 4, you have Josh Allen throwing the ball to him. They have great defense. Running backs suck. Are suspect. Sorry. So yeah, I mean he's their playmaker. He's their guy. So Josh Allen, he can get him the ball. We saw last year, you know, when a lot of people thought that Josh Allen they should move on from, like Rosen. But he really came out last year, lit the world on fire. So he's got a great quarterback, good defense. Like I said, Stephon Diggs is the guy. He's gonna get those yards. Obviously, he's gonna get the targets. And I'm a big volume guy. I mean, 166 targets. That's amazing. So I have Stephon Diggs at number 4. Number 3, Calvin Ridley, 143 targets. That'll go up. They don't have Julio Jones anymore. Don't really have a running game. You have Mike Davis, but that's not just another guy. I'm trying to think of who they're Russell Gage. I know you have Kyle Pitts there. I mean, those targets are going to get shared between those guys, but Calvin Ridley showed last year that he's a really good wide receiver. When Julio was hurt, even when Julio was in the game, Calvin Ridley was out there not lighting the world on fire, but lighting up the field. And so I have him at number 3. Again, you lose Julio, those targets have to go somewhere. Kyle Pitts, Russell Gage, Calvin Ridley, they're going to be down a lot. I don't think that. I mean, they don't have a good defense. Offensive line is no running game. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. Calvin Ridley he's going to get those targets, and I have him at number 3. Number 2, Devontae Adams. We saw what he did last year. Number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football by a pretty good margin. And I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers back. You didn't really add anything to wide receiver. I mean, Cobb, but I mean, you didn't add like a Julio Jones or anybody. So yeah, I have him at number 2, which only means one thing. Tyreek Hill, you have Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Tyreek Hill, one of the quickest players in the NFL. Outside of Travis Kelce, they don't really have much. They lost Sammy Watkins. That's not a huge thing, but I mean that's just another player that they lost. Beefed up that offensive line. It's going to give more time to Patrick Mahomes to be able to throw the ball deep to Tyreek. So yeah, I'm expecting huge things. I have him as the number one wide receiver in the NFL this year. Oh, that's not right. All right, excuse that. It's supposed to be running backs. I don't know why this is quarterbacks or wide receivers. Interesting. Anyways, can I change that real quick? No. Okay. Um, Number 10, Jonathan Taylor. Playing behind a good offensive line. This is another, like I said, Cody picked him up, or Cody traded for him. Really, really good young piece that Cody added to his team. Jonathan Taylor, I have him at number 10. You don't have, I mean, you have Mac there, but he's not going to be doing a whole lot. Young player, they're going to be running the ball a lot. Again, I'm not a fan of Carson Wentz. I know Cody thinks, not Cody, Tanner thinks he's the greatest player ever, but hey, it is what it is. So I have Jonathan Taylor at number 10. Number 9, Joe Mixon. We'll get made fun of this, and I don't care. I believe Joe Mixon is an RB1 this year. They worked that offensive line. I know they didn't draft Sewell, Cody, but they still got some players in the offensive line. Bernard's not there anymore. Gio. You get Burrow back. They're going to get the ball to Joe Mixon. And just on pure volume, he's going to be a running back one this year, depending on injury, and that's always the thing with Joe Mixon. But if he can stay healthy, play 15 games, I have him as running back one, and I'm very glad I made that trade. Number 8, Saquon Barkley. He's starting to fall down the draft board a little bit. I was listening to a podcast earlier, and he's got like 7 or 8 in the draft. People are worried about that leg. People are worried about the Giants as a whole. God, it's like every other day there's a fight in practice or in a scrimmage. Daniel Jones isn't that good. Kenny Galladay is not playing good. I mean, their offense is scary this year, and it's not scary good. It's scary bad. So yeah, Saquon falling down the list a little bit. I still think he'll come in at number 8. He's just got talent through the roof. Let's see what happens. Number 7, Aaron Jones. Like I said, he's back in Green Bay. They have Aaron Rodgers. They have Devontae Adams that'll open up the field a little bit. Aaron Jones on volume. He'll be a top 10 player this year, and there's not much else to say about him. I mean, he's a boring player. He'll get you 12, 14 points a week. I mean, he's nothing fun to watch, but hey, they finally freed Aaron Jones last year, and I know they have AJ Dillon. I know he's a backup running back. I know everybody keeps saying that they're going to be playing him a lot more. I don't see that. I think they're going to play Aaron Jones. He's going to be a top 10 running back, not wide receiver. Zeke, I'm expecting a big year for Zeke. He had a down year last year. He lost a couple of players on the offensive line, lost his quarterback. I mean, it's just tough. It's tough to have a big year if that happens. So I have Zeke coming in at number 6. He's still a freak of an athlete, and I know he's got Tony Pollard behind him, but same thing with Aaron Jones. He'll get a couple plays here and there, but it's not going to be a running back by committee like I keep hearing people say. I don't believe that. Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb. We saw what he did last year. 12 rushing touchdowns, 190 attempts. I mean, Aaron Jones at 201, Jonathan Taylor at 232. Nick Chubb, I know he's got Kareem Hunt behind him, but they have a really good offensive line. I mean, that whole team's good. Baker Mayfield, I don't know about Baker Mayfield, but you have good wide receivers. You have a good offensive line. Your defense is good. I mean, they're going to be up a lot of games, and they're just going to be handing the ball off. So volume-wise, I have Nick Chubb at number 5. Number 4, Derrick Henry. I should just skip this because it's Derrick Henry. Minus an injury, the guy is going to rush for at least 1,500 yards. I have him at number 4. I'm not even going to talk about it. Number 3, Alvin Kamara. It really helps that Jameis Winston has been named the starter. I was worried with Taysom Hill because, in my opinion, he would be doing quarterback sneaks or scrambling. When he can just do the check down pass, which I believe Jameis Winston will do. He'll try to play smarter this year, try not to go 33-30. So I'm expecting, maybe not a huge rushing year for Alvin Kamara, but passing, they don't have much. They really don't have much outside of Alvin Kamara. You put Taysom Hill at tight end, and Michael Thomas doesn't come back till like week 6 or 8 or 10 or who knows. So Alvin Kamara, reception wise, I really wish we were a half PPR. That would boost him up a little bit more. But reception wise, if you can get 60, 70 yards a game, touchdown, running game, I'm at number 3. Number 2, Dalvin Cook. A little suspect on that offensive line, but it's Dalvin Cook. We saw what he did last year. I mean, if you remember that, was it the first week when I think Kirk Cousins threw the ball like 12 times because Dalvin Cook just ran it down their throats? Anyways, he's a great player. The group chat's going like crazy. Who knows what's going on? But I have Dalvin Cook at number 2. And number 1, Christian McCaffrey. He's back. I think Sam Darnold is better than what people are saying. No, I don't think that he's going to come out of the gate and be Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think he's going to be a Josh Rosen. I think he'll be middle of the pack, and I think Christian McCaffrey could work with that. He's running, getting the receptions, getting the checkdowns from Sam Darnold. He's just a freak of an athlete. I have him at number 1. So ignore the top 10 wide receivers. I didn't know that was on there. I thought that said running backs. Apparently not. I'm an idiot. But yeah, so thank you guys. We are a week away. I will be doing a mock 2-round draft this week. And, these trades are going to start, they're going to start getting thrown out there. A did need to start looking around like, am I going to draft Najee or am I going to trade and try to get a keeper in a second round or a third rounder where you could pick up a good player that you can keep for next year. You need to start thinking about the future and not about right now. So again, I think, like I said, Dan, I think, has 2 first rounders and 2 second rounders. That really hurts. He's a really good drafter. I know he'll draft a couple of young guys. I know ETN, like I said, got hurt. I thought Dan would have picked him up in the second round. That's not going to happen. But you still have Darrell Henderson out there, Javonte Williams. You still have him out there. I know Baby D's a Denver fan, so that might be something he's looking at in the second round. So yeah, like I said, we're about a week away. That's about all I got. All right.